Isn't immigration good for the economy? Yes. Is there a reason to be against immigration other than racism? No. Sorry, it really is that simple, like 95% of the time. Immigration is complicated. There are like specific, you have to be careful with it. It's a complicated issue. I'm not saying it's always simple. Like sometimes it's difficult to integrate large numbers of immigrants, but overwhelmingly, yes, having immigrants is the economically correct choice for the UK. Massively so. Yeah.
What will you do with people who come here illegally? What will you do with them? Well, very simply, what will you do?
Give them an education, man, if they don't already have one. Put them to work. That's what we do with the Mexicans. Oh, you want to come over to America? You want to bring us chalupas? You want to bring us street tacos? Fine. But you're going to be working for $3 an hour in the agricultural center, and your boss is going to threaten to deport you if you ever complain about the brutal violations of working rights that you and your family endures. And you're going to send 90% of your income as remittances over to your family in Mexico while you sleep in a dorm room with 18 other undocumented immigrants. So just do that in the UK. Okay, don't actually do that. But like, you know, I don't know. Maybe let them work a little bit. I don't know. I mean, just a suggestion. Yeah, immigrants are crazy good for the economy, you know? A fully grown adult human being, a grown-ass man from, I don't know, Syria or Poland or North Macedonia is coming over like a 23-year-old guy with a strong back and strong hands. Put that motherfucker to work. You getting that shit for free, dude. You kidding me? If a baby's born, you have to spend 18 years coddling the little before it can do anything. You just got a worker for free. That's crazy. In all likelihood, the UK isn't getting Polish immigrants because of economic conditions, living standards improving in Poland. Yeah. Where is it currently? I mean, there's the Syrian refugees or whatever. Where's, hold on. Where are UK's immigrants from? Is it like North Africa? What are we talking here? India, Romania, and China. Why Romania? Isn't their GDP booming? Well, India's not surprising. Where are all of their Wahhabists coming from? Poland cheap labor was 20 years ago. How the fuck are people getting there from China? I was just looking up immigrants, not undocumented immigrants. Let me look up undocumented immigrants. We're from Asian countries. That's very helpful, Pew Research Center. Thank you. We're from Asian countries, huh? That's crazy. 1 in 5 were from sub-Saharan African countries. About 1 in 10 were from Middle East, North Africa countries. Can we be real for a sec? I'm going to be really real, and maybe people in chat are going to accuse me of being unwoke, but I'm being serious about this, okay? You know what? Let's acknowledge the fucking elephant in the room. Yes, your average immigrant from the Middle East, North Africa, and sub-Saharan Africa are probably not going to be very culturally aligned with the average resident of the UK. Honestly, they're going to be pretty fucking backwards. I'm not going to tiptoe around that. I'm not one of those delusional lefties who thinks if you go to the average sub-Saharan African country, I'm going to walk up to some guy and I'm going to be like, yo, Steven Universe, trans rights, working class power. He's going to be like, yeah, man, for sure. I'm down with all those things. No, I understand. Okay. Different cultures. And I'm going to say it a little bit, you know? In a lot of cases, worse cultures. You want to see women's rights, gay rights in these countries? I'm not dancing around it. I do think some cultures are better, you know? The difference is that like white Western chauvinists think that better culture means white people, and I think better culture means willing to integrate, you know, people regardless of their color. Kind of a fundamental difference there. I think we have probably better gay nightclubs over here in Seattle. I'm just going to say, if you want to make good citizens, good UK citizens of the undocumented immigrants from North Africa, South Sub-Saharan Africa, whatever the fuck, you know, if you want to get the fuck on over there, right? Then you need to integrate them. And that means you need to extend an open outward hand to them. That's what we did with the Italians and the Irish. I mean, mostly because they weren't black, but you know, if you want them to become like an integral part of your culture, you have to respect them and meet them at their level to an extent, you know? I do not think any humans would choose to... look, I'll put it this way. People are born Amish. Nobody joins the Amish, okay? People are born with a sub-Saharan African attitude towards like minority rights. I don't think anyone chooses that shit. If you give people an equal chance in the UK or America or anywhere else, and you're like, hey, look, I disagree with a lot of your values, but at the end of the day, we're both residents. Let's do our best. I think people born into that environment, born into it, like the children of those immigrants, are going to go, I can go with my, like, culturally isolated, enclave-driven, sub-Saharan African parents who hate, like, Western degeneracy and have no fun and are losers, or I can fucking, I don't know, top a twink. I can stop and think, or I can top a twink. They're gonna top a twink! They're gonna top a twink. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm not pretending that immigrating, like getting immigration from sub-Saharan Africa isn't hard. Of course it's difficult. Big cultural differences there, okay? But you can work with that. You can work with that. It's not impossible. You're assuming they won't just become their parents? I'm not assuming, I know. Because I live in America where we do have way more like cultural integration, and I grew up around a fuck ton of young Korean and Chinese people whose parents are like hardline conservative racists and their children are chill as fuck. I grew up in LA, man. There are so many enclaves in LA that are made up of older first-generation immigrants whose children then learn English as like a second or first language and end up being totally fucking normal. We have data on this, like towards like the children moving towards the mean and cultural values. It happens. You just have to accept them, you know? You have to accept them. What about the Turkish TikTok guy living in the UK whose mother was secular and he argued with her? Yeah, it's me, Mario. That's exactly my point. In London, they have really regimented enclaves. They don't do cultural acceptance. People in the UK don't think of the UK as a melting pot. They don't think of it as a big, beautiful Caesar salad of cultures. Over in America, there's a lot more integrate. I know that sounds crazy because everyone thinks like America's the most racist country on earth. It's fucking not, man. I'm really sorry. America's one of the less racist countries, and you can demonstrably prove it with like a million polls where it's like, hey, how do you feel about people of different races? And America's consistently one of the least racist. And that's because a lot of our racism is baked into, one, specifically African-American antagonism, and two, because a lot of it is baked into classism. And a lot of the way we do our racism is very class-driven, where there will be racist white people who will pretend that their racism is actually disdain for like low-class blacks or whatever, when in reality it's a race thing. But like, I'm not saying that's good, by the way. I'm just saying that like we do more to integrate people from our enclaves, you know? Man, I grew up in LA. LA has so much like, LA has so many enclaves, but the children in those enclaves go on to be like regular ass guys. It's honestly really inspiring. There's so much racism and segregation in LA, but a lot of it is at like a generational level. And then you see the kids, and a lot of the kids are just like, yeah, they're fucking Americans, man. It's good. But you need to reach out to them for that to work. You need to reach out to them for that to be possible. No, I agree. The UK is especially bad with this hungamaster. In Canada, the term melting pot is used as a negative term. Yeah. Public education's a huge melting pot towards the mean. Yeah, it is, 100%. Let me see if I can find that. Polling country neighbor of different race. I think that was the question that I'm thinking of. Here we go. A fascinating map of the world's most and least racially tolerant countries. Right here. Share that answered people of another race when asked to pick from groups of people they would not want as neighbors. And over here you have like Argentina, Brazil, US, Canada, Norway, Australia, and just a few others in the dark blue, as in like very few people said that. But if you look over here, like France, racist as shit. Admittedly, right over here, the UK is also dark blue, so maybe this contradicts my narrative a little bit. You know, maybe we could describe it as a different kind of racial bias, where like in the UK, they won't outwardly say they're against people of another race, but they still don't do much work to like culturally integrate. Also, this is from 2013, before the Syrian refugee crisis, so I'd be willing to bet in Europe these are probably worse now. Ew. How's Pakistan blue but India red? I hate to tell you, man, Pakistan's pretty bad, but India's literally ruled by Hitler right now. Like, India's pretty bad, man. I gotta say, in terms of like national culture, I'll take China over India 500 times over. China may be more totalitarian and regimented, but holy shit, India is fucking on their goddamn... Yeah, we'll talk about the election. We'll talk about the election. In the UK, it's less about race and more about economic refugees, asylum seekers, and Muslims. Yeah, it's the framing of the question can massively change how it is. India is the worst country today, IMO. Every time I hear anything about India, it's either them being Hitlerite or like another gang rape of a woman. It's not good, man. It's not good. It's not good.